What if I told you that one of the cleanest, most no-nonsense knife designs out there just got a full titanium upgrade? But it might not be the upgrade you expect. I really love the budget version of the Monterey Bay Knives Old Guard so much I had to see what the premium version was all about. Same design, better materials, higher price, but does it actually feel like a step up, or is it just simply more expensive? Let's check it out. A little while back, I happened to pick up the budget version of the Monterey Bay Knives Old Guard, and I kind of fell in love. I covered it in a video a few months back, so you can watch that if you want my full thoughts, but ultimately, I just loved it. It had a really simple design, nothing crazy, respectable action, and just performed really well. I was just drawn to how simple it was, and I loved it so much, I even dyed the jade handles into this dark brown, and I honestly carry this quite a bit. So when I discovered there was a premium version, it shot to the top of my list pretty quickly. Unfortunately, this premium version carries a rather hefty increase over its basic little brother. Where this old guard retails for close to the $60 mark, this titanium version instead retails for around $150 when they're in stock. Fortunately, I was able to locate this on a knife page on Facebook for around half that price due to it missing the crazy titanium pocket clip, and I jumped on it. So putting the budget version away for a second, let's now take a closer look at the titanium version. This is the Monterey Bay Knives Old Guard in titanium, designed by Ray Laconico and Sanford Owen. If you know anything about Ray Laconico designs, you already know what to expect here. Just super clean, super simple, and just a little basic, but ultimately an attractive design. So this is what I'd call a back to basics folder. No crazy milling, no wild blade shapes, no gimmicks, just a really classic drop point blade and a straightforward handle design that's meant to be functional first. And honestly, that's why I like it. This is one of those knives that doesn't try to impress you right away, but the more you carry it, the more it grows on you. It's just really solid. Everything feels really well thought out, nothing feels tacked on or extra. On paper, this is kind of a boring knife. If you're into loud, flashy knives, this probably isn't for you. But if you appreciate clean designs and good materials, this hits harder than you would expect. So let's run through the specs real quick. This has an overall length of 8 inches, and then a blade length of 3.5 inches. We have a blade thickness of 0.135 inches, and then we ultimately have a handle length of 4.5 inches. You have M390 blade steel with a satin finish, and outside of a very small maker mark on the back, there's no other branding on this blade, which I absolutely love. Also, M390 has really great edge retention, corrosion resistance, yada yada yada. It's kind of the standard for premium production knives outside of MagnaCut, S35VN, and S90V. The handle is full titanium, so you're getting a full metal body here. I would have liked to see a back spacer like the budget version has, so it's one thing that's surprisingly lacking on the premium version. The weight is 3.6 ounces, which is actually pretty reasonable for a full titanium knife this size. And this one is running on bronze and Teflon washers, not bearings, which definitely affects the action, but we'll talk more about that later. And also worth noting that this is made in China. So now for some pros. Ultimately, I really like this knife. The first thing that I really like, and is something I already covered, is just the design. This is just a really good looking knife. Super clean lines, nothing awkward, nothing out of place. It's just one of those knives that looks right from every angle. It's honestly kind of boring in that aspect, but I'm just drawn to it all the same. It just looks really classy somehow without really trying. It might be the titanium effect, but I really love the budget version too, so it's just something about the lines that just make it feel more sophisticated than it really is. Next up is the titanium handles, of course. And these feel great, they're nice and solid in hand, no weird hot spots, and the finish is done really well. It gives the knife a really more premium feel compared to the budget version. Though shockingly enough, I would actually prefer micarta here, this is still a nice jump up compared to the G10 on the budget model. The ergonomics are also really solid, it fits the hand really nicely without being too bulky, and even though it's a bit on the larger side, it still carries pretty well. And then there's the size. I actually really like this size. 3.5 inch blade is kind of in that sweet spot where it's big enough to handle most tasks, but still not so big that it feels ridiculous to carry. Then lastly, the materials. M390 and titanium at this price point are really solid. There's no complaints there. The fit and finish is great, and it just feels really well built. I really like this knife. But there are some cons. First up is the action. This is probably going to come down to preference, but don't expect anything crazy here. Since it's running on washers, it's smooth, but it's not something I would call drop shut. It doesn't just fall closed. You have to do a little shake to get it to go down. And personally, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. But I know a lot of people are used to that super fidgety guillotine style action. and this is not that. Another thing is the size for some people. I like it, but if you prefer smaller EDC knives, this might feel a little bit big in the pocket. And then there's the price. These come in around $150, which while the materials are premium in there, it just feels a little high, especially considering this is made in China. So let's talk value, because this is where things get a little interesting. At around $150, you're getting titanium and M390, which is objectively good. But for me, I think this knife would make a little bit more sense in the $120 to $130 range. Not because it's bad, but because it really doesn't do anything exceptional. It's not groundbreaking, the action isn't amazing, and there's nothing here that really pushes it over the top. It's just a really well-built, solid knife. And depending on what you're looking for, that might be enough. But when you start comparing it to other knives in that price range, it gets a little harder to justify the full $150. At the end of the day, the old guard and titanium version here is exactly what it claims to be. It's a clean, modern folder with premium materials and solid construction. If you love the budget version like I did, this definitely feels like the natural step up in terms of materials and the overall feel. But it's not going to blow you away. It's not the smoothest, it's not the flashiest, it's not the best value out there. It's just a really good, simple knife. And honestly, sometimes that's enough. So what are your thoughts? Is it worth the price? Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.